Hello all, very good morning. So, today we would be learning about indirect speech. Okay, so indirect speech, what do we understand by direct or indirect speech? First and foremost is, let us understand when a speaker is speaking or when we talk about a speaker speaking, it can be defined in two parts. One is direct, other one is indirect. To be more precise and to learn more about it, let us proceed further. So, now let me tell you, when one wishes to speak, when we are talking about when one wishes to speak, either speaks his own words or describes the words of others. So, again it is into two forms that we would be defining it. So, now let us understand direct and indirect speech. So, first let us talk about the direct speech. So, first let us talk about the direct speech, and when we are talking about the direct speech, we may quote the actual words of the speaker. When we are quoting the actual words, what the speaker said, we are quoting the actual words, that is the direct speech, word to word, same, that is the direct speech. Fine, it is we may quote the actual words of the speaker. Let me give you the example for better understanding. Let us go with the example. He said, I have lost my mobile phone. So, now when we are saying, we are quoting the actual words of what the speaker said. So, when the second person is saying, he said, I have lost my mobile phone. So, when the speaker spoke, this were his words, I have lost my mobile phone. So, that we would give it into the inverted commas because we are highlighting and showing his words. So, it is direct speech, word to word what he said. Fine. When we are going with indirect speech, okay, this is indirect speech when we are talking about. So, when we are talking about indirect speech, it need not be the same words word to word as the speaker spoke. So, now what will we take care of? Please understand this. We may report what the person said without quoting the actual words or the exact words, exact or actual words. So, when we were talking about indirect speech, when we look at indirect speech, we are quoting, we may quote the actual words. So, we are quoting it. So, again in the form of quoting, we have used inverted commas and other things, but in indirect speech when we are talking, we may report what person said. Fine, we are just reporting what the person said. He said this, I am just telling you what he said, I am not giving you his exact words. Fine. So, without quoting the exact and actual words, we might not give the exact or actual words. He said this. Fine. So, it need not be into inverted commas and other things. So, how would we give it? I will give you the example for it. He said that he had lost his mobile phone. So, now again when we are looking into, it is not the same thing as in when we saw over here in direct speech, the way it is quoted. The way it is quoted, he said, I have lost my mobile phone. That is direct speech. The first person saying, I have lost my mobile phone. But now, in indirect speech when we are looking at, fine, here it goes. In indirect speech, we would take care of is, we need not, we may report, we are reporting what the first person said. I am not exactly quoting what the person said, I am reporting it. So, we may report what the person said without quoting. you can report it, need not quote. Fine. And we need not quote the exact words or the actual words. Fine. Then, so he said that he has lost his mobile phone. Fine. So he said that. So some second person is explaining about the first person mobile phone lost. So he said that he has lost his mobile phone. Now again you cannot write he said that I have lost my mobile phone. No, that would become a wrong this thing. Again we are putting into indirect speech. So he said that would be added. So he said that he has lost his mobile phone. Fine, this is one example. So I hope you start understanding there are various rules we need to understand when we are converting from direct to indirect. Fine. So our understanding on the reported speech, the indirect speech becomes easier, that how do we do that. Fine, and as this is a reported speech, we need to know the basic rules for it. There are some rules which we need to blindly follow, the blind rules, the basic rules for the same reported speech, indirect speech. So now when we are looking into use of this, one thing is very compulsory, use of conjunction that before the object or before the indirect sentence, or statement we can take it. Again when we are looking into that, fine, that can be usually omitted after say or tell, say and tell plus object. So again we need to remember, when we are talking, as we have used here that, fine, we are talking about the same thing, the use of conjunction that, the use of conjunction that before the indirect statement. See, yes, so first when we are looking into the direct statement, the actual word, he said I have lost my mobile phone, it is into the inverted commas. But when we are using into indirect speech, he said that he has lost his mobile phone. So again the conjunction that is used. Fine. So when we are looking into, we need to understand one thing, and that is the use of conjunction that before the indirect statement. So in direct statement we were not using that, but for indirect statement we need to use the conjunction that before the indirect statement, and that can be usually omitted. Okay, we can omit, that can be omitted, it is not compulsion, but again there are some rules that we need to follow if we want to omit that. So that can be omitted after say and tell. If you are using instead of said, if you are using say or tell plus the object, he said that he, fine. Now the object is, subject is he, object is he, but again over here when we are using it with say and tell plus the object, in that case that can be omitted. So please remember this blind rule again, this rule, that okay, that is compulsory after said, but if instead of said, if we have say and tell, say or tell, in that case we can omit that, that is not compulsory. Fine. So let us even understand few more points then. So, when we are talking about changing from direct to indirect, fine, for indirect speech, when we are giving from direct to indirect, we need to follow few things, the changes. If we understand them, follow them, our conversion becomes correct and appropriate. So, first thing we need to take care of is change of tense. The tense will be changed. Fine, the change of tense. How we would proceed further, we will learn in detail about it. Secondly, we have to take care of is change in person. Fine, again first person becomes second and all those things. So, what further that we need to do about the change in person, that we would understand in detail further. Next we need to take care of is change in adverb. How the change in adverb would come, we would understand, and even the adverbial phrases of time. Same thing like the tense changing. So, time changing and other things, the adverbial phrases of time would again be changing. So, how would it go? Let us please understand in detail step by step. Yes. So, now when we are looking into these 4 things that we would be taking care of. So, now first let us understand the tense change. Let us first talk about the tense change, the A point that we have taken, the tense change. So, in detail let us understand well what all do we need to follow for the tense changed, why it has to be changed and how would it change. Fine. So, that when we are converting from direct to indirect, our concept is clear and that helps us in the conversion easily. So, first thing that we need to take care is when the reporting or principal verb is in the past tense, all the present tenses, in the direct speech are changed into past tense. So, we need to remember one first and the foremost important point when the reporting of the principal verb. Let me first give an example, and so that our understanding becomes easier, or let us understand with more examples. First let me give one example for present and past that we are talking. He said, I am unwell. This is direct speech. Now in indirect, he said that he was unwell. So, we need to first understand, first and foremost thing that we need to understand when in reporting speech or in the principal verb, fine, in the past tense, all the present tenses in the direct speech are changed into past. Like when we are looking over here, he said I am unwell. Again we go to the past tense, the simple past, he said that he was unwell. Now I think for your better understanding, let us have the understanding of both the tenses present and past into all different ways. Like let us understand past tense, present tense, future tense and how the conversion is for your better understanding. So, let me proceed further with this. So, we have direct speech. Fine, let us give some let us share some examples and of indirect speech. Fine, first is we would take this. Let us take first example for present simple. Fine, we will take the first example of present simple tense and over here past simple tense. So, once we understand this, our concepts become more clear. So, I am giving it to you in detail for each and every type of tense, present, past, future, how would we work? So, please be careful and pay attention to the points. As the first example that we gave, he said, I am unwell. Same over here we would go with this. He said that he was unwell. Same thing for present simple when we are looking into. He said I am unwell. Now over here when we are converting, he said that I became he was unwell. I am, when I am talking, first person is talking, I am unwell. But when the second person is talking, he, I became he, fine, so he was unwell. Fine, next when we are looking into, let us look into present continuous tense. Present continuous tense, and over here let us look at past continuous tense. So, now let us have a better understanding on past continuous tense, how it happens. Fine, he said my brother is playing football. He said my brother is playing football. Fine, now when we are this is present continuous. It started in present and yet it is continuing. So, we are calling it as present continuous. He said my brother is playing. When it came is playing, it is present continuous tense. So, is playing football. Now, when we are talking into the past, he said that his brother was playing football. So, again when we are looking into, he said my brother is playing football. Direct speech, word to word, again in inverted commas. But when over here when we are changing it, he said that has been added. My became his, brother is became was. Tenses again change. Present, past. Fine. Present continuous tense change to past continuous tense. How will we change it? This way. He said my brother is playing football. Same thing, this present continuous changes to past. Fine. He said that his brother was, because in direct speech some second person or third person is talking. So, he that said that his brother was playing football. Fine, at full stop. Next, when we are saying how would it convert? Present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect continuous to past perfect continuous. Or before that, let us understand, I would say let us better understand simple, yes, I think this would help you out in better understanding simple past tense. Simple present tense to simple past tense. Simple present tense, okay, simple past tense to past perfect tense. Fine, so again in this both is past, but we would have simple past to past perfect. Past perfect is again the task in past which is done. Fine, perfectly completed task. So, how would we do it? He said his horse died in the night. He said that his horse died in the night. This is again simple past tense. Recently, last night the horse is dead. So, it is like his horse died in the night. Fine, that is what his words were. Now, in past perfect, how would we continue it? We would be converting it to, he said that his horse had died in the night. So, in simple past when we are looking at, it is saying he said his horse died in the night. It is in past itself, but I am telling it in present. So, it is a simple past, recently happened. He said his horse died in the night. Now, when we are converting the indirect speech as past perfect tense, when it is converted to the indirect speech, it becomes past perfect tense. And how? He said that his horse had died. Again it is, see, he said that would come, had died. So, it is perfect, confirmed, perfect, dead. Fine. His horse had died in the night. So, last night everything is completed. The horse had died. Fine. So, this thing, the simple past tense, and now it is past perfect, it is all done. Fine. Next, when we are looking into, so now when we are going further, let us now understand past continuous tense. And when past continuous tense is past perfect continuous tense. So, how would we understand it? See, when we are talking about the sentence is past continuous, a sentence is in past continuous. Now, let us take it. He said, she said, I was gardening all the morning. So, when she is saying she has been gardening from the time, I was gardening all the morning. So, from morning that she is continuously, even now she is gardening, it is past continuous. Fine. I said I was gardening all the morning. So, might be early morning that she has started, and it is a continuous tense in the past, continuous whole morning that she was gardening. Now, how would we convert this into past perfect continuous? So, now let us understand how would we do this. She again remains the same, she said remains the same, she said. So, let us understand how would we do that. Fine. Now, again we would have that. Fine. Why? We know why that would be used. Fine. We have learnt, we have understood in starting itself. So, again that is used. She had been. Now, when we are taking, why are we taking? She had been. Now, when we are looking is I was, it is she said I was. So, indirectly that we are talking. So, again for us, she said that she now was gardening all the morning. So, it was a continuous process. So, she had been gardening all morning. So, the whole morning period she was gardening. This is what we are saying. Now, was, now it is had been. Again had been is perfectly done, and it was a continuous process that she was doing, gardening all morning. Continuous whole morning that she was doing was gardening. So, it is past perfect continuous tense. Fine. So, from past continuous tense, indirect we are converting to past perfect continuous tense. Next, when we are looking into, let us go for future tense. When future tense, we are converting it to conditional. It becomes a conditional statement. How? Let us give it. Let us understand it. He said, I will be in Delhi on Saturday. So, when we are looking into this statement, he said, I will be in Delhi on Saturday. So, it is for future that he has told. He is going to go to Delhi on Saturday. So, it is will be. Will be is used in future. So, will be in Delhi on Saturday. I will be in Delhi on Saturday. Now, how would we convert this to conditional? So, let's understand this. He said he would be in Delhi on Saturday Even we can use it as he said that he would be in Delhi on Saturday. Again, we know when will be converted to would into conditional. The modal verb changes into will would be changed into would or in conditional sentence. Again, when we are talking, because this is future, we cannot say he said he will be in Delhi, we cannot use it, because again he has said, you do not have confirmation that sure if something changes, his mind changes or anything. So, you cannot give the guarantee of his. So, you will use he said he would. Again its would is used in conditional sentence. So, he would be in Delhi on Saturday. So, when future tense it is converted, it is conditional. Fine. Next we would take care of is now modal auxiliary. When we are talking about modal auxiliaries like shall, will, can, may. Again the modal auxiliaries, when we are looking into the modal auxiliaries shall, will, can and may, what would they change from direct to indirect. When we are changing shall, will, can, may from direct to indirect modal auxiliary, what changes would it have? Let us understand. It would be changing to should, would, could, might. So, again the modal auxiliaries, okay, let us, I think let us have a better clear understanding. The modal auxiliaries shall, will, can, may are converted to should, would, could, might. Again the same thing, modal auxiliary shall, will, can, may. This is one blind rule that we need to remember, because in future even when you are working out shall in indirect speech and this thing, shall, should, will, would, can, could and may, might. So, accordingly it would change. So, example let me give you, okay, let us give an example. He said the teacher will come soon. He said the teacher will come soon. Now, when we are converting it from direct to indirect, what are the changes that we would do? Now, over here when we are looking at the modal auxiliary is will. So, how would we convert the will and what would take place? So, now when we are looking at it, he said that the teacher would come soon. So, again when we are looking at no inverted commas, nothing, because it is indirect. In direct speech it is he said the teacher will come soon. The same thing, he said that the teacher will became would come soon. Such please understand and follow some exercises, so that can help you in better understanding. Fine. Now, again we would be taking care of one more point. We will be taking care of one thing. If the reporting verb is in the present, let us say it in present tense, the tenses of the direct speech do not change. Now, please understand this. If the reporting verb we are talking about, reporting verb is what is being reported, the indirect speech. If the reporting verb is in the present tense, when can it be in the present tense? Only when the direct speech even it would be the same, it would not change, it would be the present tense only. Let me give you an example. because there should not be a confusion, he says, I am unwell. So, when we are looking at says, in reporting, the reporting verb is says. We are not saying he said, we are saying he says. So, when it is says, it remains the same. How would we give it? It is he says that he is unwell. Fine. So, it is easy, it is only that we need to follow it. Said it would not become, it will remain says, remain says. So, he says that he is unwell. Let me give you another example. The second example, let me take it. He says, I have passed the examination. So, again it remains the same. He says that he has passed the examination. So, again when we are looking into, the says remains the same. He says, I have passed the examination in the present tense. This is in present that he is talking. So, the same thing, he says that he has passed the examination, because again we are talking into the same thing, but in past that we are saying. So, please into the present tense when it is, please follow this rule. This is again an important rule, so that do not get confused and it would make it your learning more easier. So, today what we have learned about tense, about direct indirect speech. In indirect direct speech, how would we deal with the tenses? How would the tenses get converted? So, please have a better understanding and a better learning. Please go through and learn more. Have a great day. Thank you.